ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the Freeman Radio Show. Tune in for the latest news on the war in Europe, broadcasted from headquarters in New York City. I am Josephine Roxon, and here with me, as always,
Gary Rutherford,
Valerie Whitman,
and Olivia Smith. God bless America's troops.
She means that she can't afford to go to Chattanooga. Have you got in there?
Today, June 1st, 1941, is a sad day for the Allied forces. Their troops have just surrendered, leaving the island of Crete under complete German control. On the 20th of May, the Nazis started an assault on the Greek island by dropping paratroopers in large numbers. British and Greek soldiers were ready for the German forces, successfully holding off their offense for a while. Yet, the Germans were able to capture the airfield of Malini, enabling them to get reinforcements. After 2 weeks of soul-crushing battle, the Allied forces were defeated and surrendered earlier in this very day.
Breaking news! The Manhattan Project, originally based in New York, was a secret research and development project that produced the first American nuclear weapons. The nuclear bombs produced were just successfully dropped last Monday in the Japanese cities of Hiroshima and Nagasaki. Boom! At the order of President Truman as preparation for the invasion of the Japanese mainland. At this time, it is important that we all remember the dreadful events of Pearl Harbor, the Battle of Iwo Jima, and the Battle of Midway. The surprise attack on Pearl Harbor in 1941 damaged all 8 U.S. Navy battleships, sinking 4. Over 2,000 Americans were killed and over 1,000 were left wounded in this atrocious tragedy caused by the Japanese. The Battle of Midway in 1942 led the U.S. to lose the Yorktown, the destroyer USS Hammond, and left over 300 dead. The Battle of Iwo Jima caused 26,000 casualties in 1945. In light of these events, the Americans did what was necessary to support our country and fought back. So remember to support your troops.
Germany is stopped. Hitler's plan to conquer the Soviet Union has failed, and at great costs. It all started back on June 22, 1941, when 4.5 million troops from Nazi Germany and its Axis allies began a massive invasion into Soviet Union territory. This surprise attack was launched even after the two countries had signed a non-aggression pact back in 1939. Yet, Hitler was still hungry for the USSR's resources, and he knew that they were unprepared to protect their border that spans 2,000 miles. Within a single week, German forces advanced 200 miles into Soviet territory, destroyed nearly 4,000 aircrafts, and killed, captured, or wounded some 600,000 Red Army troops. The Einsatzgruppen, units of security police from Nazi Germany, initiated mass murder operations, primarily against Jewish males, officials of the Communist Party in state, and Soviet Roma. They established ghettos to concentrate large numbers of Soviet Jews. Yet, the Germans only made it so far, because the infamous Russian winter has arrived. This December, and with minimal resources and starving soldiers, the Germans have no other choice than to halt their advancements. 800,000 casualties and 6 million wounded or captured Soviet soldiers is what resulted in this deadly failure of an operation.
We'll be back shortly after this quick commercial break. Stay tuned. Honey, the bloodstains of Nazis won't come out of my uniform.
That's okay, darling. We have Tide. Help your man wash away the pain of the war with Tide laundry detergent in stores near you.
Don't forget to buy yourself some Gallo. It tastes better than the flavor of wine that costs double the price. So remember to choose Gallo because Gallo brings you fine wine.
Hello, welcome back from commercial break.
Justin, after months of brutal battles and thousands of deaths, German forces surrendered at Stalingrad on the Volga. The Soviet forces launched an attack against the Germans assembled at Stalingrad. They promptly surrounded the German army, consisting of over 200,000 soldiers. After the success for the Soviet army, they stayed on the offensive and freed most of Ukraine, practically all of Russia and eastern Belarus. Stay tuned for updates.
This just in, D-Day, D-Day.
Boom, boom, boom!
The largest sea and airborne operation in history has just been conducted by the Allied forces on the coast of France and Normandy. 24,000 troops, 5,000 ships, and 11,000 airplanes from the US, Canada, and Britain made their secret mastermind attack on German troops occupying the coast of France on the 6th of June. The brave men entered through 5 different beach landings under treacherous weather conditions and aims of taking back Western Europe from Nazi Germany. The troops parachuted down onto the coast and struggled to break through German gunmen firing at them. Pew, pew! Pew, pew, pow, 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 pow! On beaches covered in metal scraps, barbed wire, and wooden sticks. And meanwhile, minesweepers from Allied forces cleared channels for the invasion fleet. Boom! This invasion was made possible due to deceptions executed under Operation Fortitude, which sent fake radio broadcasts to the Germans and even created a fictitious First United States Army group to lead Germans to believe that the attack would strike elsewhere. Now, troops are viciously fighting their way through the western coast in order to gain back the land from Nazi Germany. Stay tuned this week in order to find out who makes it and support your troops who die for your safety.
Tuning in from New York, we are in the studio today with a very special guest, a Holocaust survivor. Before he comes in, let me give you some background on the tragic event. Between 1941 to 1944, Nazi German authorities deported millions of Jews from their homes. Before being sent to concentration camps, they were first put in ghettos. After living in these inhumane places, they were sent to concentration camps where millions were murdered in gas chambers or died due to work exhaustion and starvation. So here to share his experience of the Auschwitz concentration camp is Mr. Eli Wiesel. Welcome, Mr. Wiesel. Thank you for coming today.
Oh, you're welcome. I'm very glad to be here and think it's extremely important to share the conditions and atrocities of this event.
I agree. So, how was the living conditions in the camp?
It was basically prison. Everyone was scared and unsure of their future. There was no proper food, if there were any at all. There was no hot water and no heat. We were beaten and abused by the soldiers.
That is horrible. I'm so sorry. What was the last straw for many of your companions?
In the very end of the war, we were forced to be relocated by German authorities. Those were one of the worst moments. It was thousands of people having to run several kilometers during the whole day, in the snow and with no shoes. If somebody stopped, they were shot or trampled. There are some that call it the death runs. That was the most scarring time for me.
The Holocaust is a very dark time in our past, and we must not forget to pray for the fallen souls. Thank you so much for your time, Mr. Wiesel. Nazi hunters have existed since the end of the war. Just like the name suggests, they are a group of people with the purpose of finding fugitive Nazis. Western allies and the Soviet Union are looking for scientists and other Nazi operatives to help with their efforts in the Cold War. Therefore, they need people who could help them find the former Nazis that are still alive and in hiding or in denial of their past. The Nazis who are found and are cooperative will be able to gain benefits and protection in return of their service. They are essential for our combat against the mindless commies. You can help find a Nazi too. If you have any information or you have seen one, call 1-800-2456-3421 immediately.
Good morning, people. Today's the 8th of August, 1945, and as we speak, 22 Nazi leaders stand in trial in Nuremberg, Germany. The International Military Tribunal, consisting of judges from the United States of America, France, Great Britain, and the Soviet Union, will judge under Article 6 of the IMT's Charter. The culprits will be evaluated for the following crimes. Number 1, crimes against peace. Number 2, crimes against humanity. And number 3, war crimes. Nevertheless, some Nazi leaders have been able to evade the justice grasps. One of which is Adolf Eichmann, responsible for the deportation of thousands of innocent Jews for Hitler's final solution, who is currently at large. Tune in next week for more information on the Nuremberg trials.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for listening to the Freeman Radio Show tonight. Tune in next Tuesday at 8 p.m. Central. Signing off,
Gary Rutherford,
Josephine Roxon,
Valerie Whitman,
and Olivia Smith. God bless America's troops.